Hi children, how are you? I want you to think about kindness today. Now, kindness is a quality that can be shown in a lot of ways. It can be shown by being warm towards someone, by being friendly towards someone. It can also mean being gentle towards somebody, showing your care and concern towards someone. Now, think of a time if you were playing on the playground and somebody fell and hurt themselves. Instead of standing there and laughing at them, you actually went up to them and you helped them out. Now that's an act of kindness. Kindness can be shown in a lot of ways. One of those ways we will see in the story today, which is about this little girl named Betty, who's a very, very kind-hearted girl. Let's see how her story unfolds. Once upon a time, there lived a little girl named Betty. Betty lived in a small little cottage somewhere in the woods with her father, who was old and very poor. Her father had just lost his job, and they had no food in the house. They were starving because they were really poor. So Betty decided to take matters in her own hand, and she told her father that she needed to go out into the world and seek her fortune. So one day, she packed her little bag and she went up to her father and she said, "Daddy, I want to go out into the world to seek my fortune. Please give me your blessings, and I shall be on my way." Betty's father hugged his little girl, who he was very proud of, and at once Betty was on her way. Betty picked up her little bag and she left. She thought she'll go into town and she will go and knock at all the shops, and she was sure she would find a job somewhere. So she walked and she walked and she walked further till she reached the town. Once she had reached town, she knocked at all the shops and all the houses. But sadly enough, nobody was willing to offer her a job. Betty was very disappointed. She did not want to return home without anything, without a job, without any money. She had promised her father that when she comes back, he would never have to work again. Well, she had a plan, but she did not know how that plan would be successful. So she kept walking further. She walked further and she went into the countryside. While she walked, she kept looking everywhere if she could find a place where she could get some work. And just then, she heard a little sound coming from somewhere. "Little girl, little girl." She turned around and there was a little oven. She went up there and the oven was speaking. She looked inside the oven and there were some loaves of bread baking. The oven said, little girl, help us please. We've been baking for the last 7 years. Nobody's taken us out. If we are inside any longer, we will burn." So Betty, the kind-hearted girl that she was, did not even once think about her fingers burning. She quickly opened the oven and she took out the loaves of bread and placed them on the table. And she smiled politely at them and she said, "Now you will be more comfortable." And she went her way. She walked a little further and suddenly she saw a cow with an empty pail standing very uncomfortably, calling out to her, little girl, milk me please. I haven't been milked for the last 7 years. I am very, very much in pain." So Betty went up there. She took that little pail and knelt below the cow. And at once she milked the cow and relieved her. She smiled at the cow and she said, "Now you will be more comfortable." And she went her way once again. When she had walked a little further, she saw a big tree. Now this big tree was full of apples. There were so many apples on the tree that the tree was ready to fall down. The tree called out to Betty and he said, little girl, help me please. Shake my branches so I can get rid of some of these apples. Otherwise my branches will break." So Betty went up to the tree and she shook it hard. A lot of apples fell down and the tree felt very relieved. Betty smiled at the tree and she said, "Now you will be more comfortable." She went along at once. Now Betty went her own way, all the time looking here and there, worried that she wouldn't find anything anymore because it was starting to get dark and she did not want to return home without anything. She had promised her father after all. And just then, she saw a little cottage at a little distance. It was beautiful. It had a beautiful red roof and a lovely chimney, and it had a stone door. Wow! She wasn't expecting such a thing in the middle of these woods. So she went up to the cottage and she knocked. When the door opened, Betty was really frightened because the one who opened the door was a witch. Now Betty was really scared, but she did not have a choice. So she looked at the witch and she said, I am Betty and I'm looking for work. And as luck would have it, the witch was looking for a maid for her house. So the witch looked at Betty and she studied her from top to toe. Looking for work, are you? Well, I have work. Would you mind cleaning and sweeping my house? Huh? Betty did not want to work there, but little choice did she have, so she agreed. So the witch said, if you agree to work here, please keep it in mind that you are never to look up this chimney, because if you do, something big will fall on your head and something bad will happen. Betty said, yes. Betty did have no business to look up the chimney, and she agreed. Now Betty worked really, really hard in the witch's house. She worked day and night, cleaning and sweeping and brooming and dusting. But the wicked witch did not pay her a penny. And now Betty was getting tired of the witch's ways. She found out that the witch was a very unkind woman. She was unkind to the animals and she was really nasty to the children. She would boil them and eat them and bury their bones in her garden. Betty wanted to run away, but she had no money to go back home. So she stayed and she waited patiently, working really, really hard. One day, the witch was out for some work, and Betty was busy cleaning the house. She was working really hard, cleaning and sweeping the floors and dusting the furniture. Just then, she heard a loud bang. And she looked around, and there was a lot of soot falling from the chimney. She looked up there, and she completely forgot the witch's warning that she wasn't to look up the chimney. And she went there and she looked up. And when she looked up, bang! Something big fell in her hand. It was a big bag. And she quickly opened the bag. She looked inside and she was shocked. The bag was full of gold coins. Betty couldn't believe it. She quickly clutched that bag and she decided to run away, forever, never to return back. And she walked to the door and she looked out. She looked to her left and to her right, and when she was sure that the witch wasn't around, she quickly started walking, and then slowly she started running. She ran and she ran and she ran a little further away, and then suddenly she heard a zooming noise, and she realized that it was the witch. The witch had understood that Betty had run away, and she also understood that she had taken away the money. So she was coming after her. Now Betty was really scared and she was looking for a place to hide. And just then, she saw the same apple tree that she had helped. And she went up to the apple tree and she sang, apple tree, hide me, so that old witch can't find me. For if she does, she'll break all my bones and bury them under her garden of stones. The apple tree quickly recognized the kind girl who had helped him. And he said, don't worry, little girl, I remember. Come, climb on my branches and I will save you. So Betty quickly climbed on the branches and she hid. And then after some time came the witch, and she stopped right in front of the tree and she said, "Oh, tree of mine, oh, tree of mine, have you seen my wicked maid? With a willy wag and a great big bag, she's stolen my money, all that I had." And the tree looked at the witch and said, "No, mother dear, not in 7 years." And so the witch zoomed past and went in the other direction. Betty got off and she thanked the tree and she walked ahead on her way home. She had walked a little further away when suddenly she again heard the voice of the witch coming and she got really scared. Once again she was looking for a place to hide and she looked everywhere and she spotted the same cow that she had milked a few years ago. And she went up to the cow and she said, mother cow, hide me, so that old witch can't find me. For if she does, she'll break all my bones and bury me under her garden of stones." The cow looked at the girl kindly and he said, "I remember you. Come, hide behind my back and I will save you from the witch." So Betty quickly went and she hid behind the cow. And then suddenly in a while came the witch riding on a broomstick and she stopped in front of the cow and she said, oh cow mine, have you seen my naughty little maid? With a willy wag and a great big bag, she's stolen my money, all that I had." The cow said, "No, mother dear, not in 7 years." So the witch zoomed past and went in the other direction. Now Betty came out from the hiding. She thanked the cow and she went on her way. While she was walking and she went a little further, suddenly zoom came the witch. Oh no! Betty was again really scared. And then, can you guess who she spotted now? Yes, you're right. She spotted that same oven from which she had taken out the loaves. So she went up to the oven and she sang, "Oven, oven, hide me, so that old witch can't find me. For if she does, she'll break all my bones and bury them under her garden of stones." The oven looked at the girl. He had recognized the girl immediately, but he said, "I'm sorry, little girl. I cannot help you, for I'm already burning. There are loaves inside of me, but you must go to the baker. I'm sure the baker will help you." So Betty quickly ran to find the baker, and once she did, she told the baker the whole story. The baker remembered, and he said, Come, hide here. I will save you from the witch." And Betty quickly went, she clutched the bag and she hid under the counter. Now soon came the witch once again. She stopped in front of the baker's shop and she asked, oh baker of mine, have you seen my naughty little maid? With a willy wag and a great big bag, she's stolen my money, all that I had." So the baker said, "Yes, mother dear, she's hiding in that oven." So the witch went there at once. She got off from the broomstick and she walked to the oven and she opened it. She peered inside, looking everywhere for Betty. And she said, "I can't find her anywhere. Where have you hidden her?" The baker said, "Oh, look behind the last stove. She's hiding behind there." So the witch crept in a little further into the oven and peered deeper. In the meanwhile, the very smart baker pushed that witch inside the oven and closed the door. And that was the end of that wicked witch who burned inside that oven, never to return. Betty came out of her hiding place. She thanked the baker. She clutched that bag of gold coins and at once she left. Betty had been really kind to all who she met on her way, and all of them had returned her kindness. At once Betty reached home. She hugged her father tight and she told him all about her adventures in all those years that she was away. Her father was extremely proud of Betty. And that brings us to the end of Betty's story. I hope you enjoyed the story, because if you did, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I will be back very, very soon with a new story. Till then, be kind and take care. Bye bye.